Welcome to Mysteries, where we give information and you guys try to figure it out. This unsolved mystery takes place in the wilderness of Colorado, where somebody was found dead nearly 4 miles from where they last disappeared. What happened to Dale Stehling? Did he get lost, or did he go someplace that he shouldn't have gone?
Dale Stehling vanished without a trace for 7 years after he wandered off from his family in the wilderness of Colorado. Within the southwestern United States, atop the arid red rocks and scattered forests of the Colorado Plateau, resides the highest concentration of archaeological sites in North America. At the core of this bygone society's ruins is Mesa Verde National Park. Mesa Verde is the biggest archaeological preserve in the U.S. at a massive 52,485 acres. This World Heritage Site contains 5,000 archaeological sites, including 600 cliff dwellings, many watchtowers, petroglyphs, supposed amphitheaters, pit houses, granaries, and the mysterious sunken ceremonial structures known as kivas. Dale Stehling's remains were found 7 years later, but the National Park Service never said where or how he died. The ancient Mesa Verde structures are highly sophisticated, and the geology is unique. The high Colorado Plateau is the point of centralization for meteorological systems which originate there and then deliver precipitation to the central United States. Human habitation in the region stretches all the way back to Clovis, Folsom, and the Archaic periods, 9500 BC to 6000 BC, which allegedly culminated into the so-called basket maker culture around 1000 BC. The basket maker culture subsequently morphed into the ancestral Puebloans, also known as the Anasazi, about 900 BC. These later cultures are notable in the archaeological record for their master planning and the astronomical alignments of their villages, for their mysterious sudden disappearance, and for evidence suggesting ritual murder and cannibalism. On June 9, 2013, 51-year-old Dale Stehling, his wife, and his parents were traveling from Texas up to Colorado sightseeing. On that hot summer day, they experienced some car trouble and made an unplanned stop at Mesa Verde National Park. They arrived at the visitor center at 4:30 p.m. Dale, an experienced hiker, went off on his own to view the Spruce Tree House ruins, which were less than a quarter mile away and within eyeshot of the visitor center. These ruins are so close, and the visitor center is so visible from them, Dale did not even bother to take any water. This was the last time his family would see him. On the approach to the Spruce Tree House ruins, there is an intersection with another longer and more dangerous trail known as Petroglyph Point Trail. This 2.4-mile trail is a loop, and while not a difficult hike, it is along a steep canyon and does have some exposure to cliff edges going up in elevation to the top of the mesa where petroglyphs cover the cliff face. The physical limitation of Dale's wife and elderly parents prevented them from going to the Spruce Tree House ruins, but Dale was an avid camper and outdoorsman. Despite the steepness of the canyon ledges, the Petroglyph Point Trail is not difficult and typically takes the average person less than an hour to complete. Another family encountered Dale on the Petroglyph Point Trail. According to them, he was not distressed and made small talk, but that was the last time anyone saw Dale alive. Because Dale's family believed he would only be exploring the Spruce Tree House site, they reported him missing very quickly. When the park rangers realized he was not at the nearby ruins, they understandably figured he had taken the Petroglyph Trail. They were not alarmed, suggesting to the family they wait an hour or two for him to return. But once 2 hours had passed since his initial departure, the family knew something was wrong, and the search began. This is an important aspect of the case because search and rescue operations normally do not begin in such an immediate, streamlined way, with such a precise area to focus on. It's also worth noting that while Dale did not have any water on him, he did have a cell phone, although the signal within the remote park may have been intermittent. Immediately upon his vanishing, an intense search effort was launched. The intense search lasted for 2 weeks before being scaled down on the assumption that surely by then he had perished. At the height of the search, which again was reached very quickly relative to how long he had been missing, included 60 searchers, 2 canine units, specialized mountaineering units which rappelled down into the canyon, and even helicopter teams armed with forward-looking infrared cutting-edge technology, enabling searchers to distinguish living things from inanimate objects. Even with the head start, these highly trained searchers, and all these excellent resources, no trace of Dale was found. In mid-September of 2020, supposedly, National Park authorities received an anonymous tip directing them to the remains of Dale Stehling. After 7 years of searching, the remains were finally discovered on September 17, 2020. Neither the National Park Service, ISB, nor the Montezuma County Police ever revealed exactly where Dale's remains were discovered. They did cryptically state that the remains were found 4.2 miles from where Dale was last seen, and that this was a remote and off-limits section of the park. They also indicated that there were no pathological indications of foul play. Some media reports indicated that the anonymous tip came from a hiker, and some made reference to his remains being discovered west of Durango. It's not difficult to imagine that a hiker exploring an off-limits area of the park would elect to remain anonymous. In fact, the vast majority of the enormous 52,485-acre park is off-limits. But the designation west of Durango is very strange, because the town of Durango is 38 miles east of the park. However, the largest and most remote swath of the park is in this section directly west of Durango. It is not all uncommon for suburban folks, spoiled by their bubbles of material convenience, to go out into rugged areas with a somewhat cavalier attitude and end up succumbing to the harsh realities of nature. However, there are certain criteria which distinguish those incidents from truly bizarre cases like this. If Dale fell off the trail and into a crevice, then the canine units surely would have detected his pungent scent emanating from within, and his remains would have not been discovered so far away. This 4.2 miles distance is troubling, given the geography of the park, because this could only have been to the west or south. Towards the east would have led right back to the other paved road areas of the park with another visitor center, and to the north would mean he would have to go down into a canyon and scale back up on the other side, which was impossible. Neither south nor west would align with the reports that he was discovered west of Durango. Why wouldn't police or park officials be more forthcoming about where exactly he was found? It's also not clear how Dale could have possibly veered off the trail, because if he didn't fall into a ravine, then he must have gone off on the trail one way or another. This makes little sense, as Dale was an experienced hiker and camper, he had no water, and it was a quite hot day. And if he found several kilometers away, not wedged in some ravine, how did the 60 searchers and helicopters outfitted with FLIR not find him in 2 weeks? Not to mention the additional 7 years of less intensive searching. That distance is certainly within the initial intensive search radius, and to be clear, this is not an indictment of search on the rescue workers, who are brave, intelligent professionals and who are experts at what they do. Perhaps some insight can be gleaned more in-depth understanding of these ancient, mysterious ruins and the culture of their creators. All the terms referring to these prehistoric inhabitants like Clovis, basket makers, Paleo-Indians, and Anastazi are not what these people refer to themselves as, nor are they recognized by modern Native Americans, with the exception of Anastazi, which simply means the ancient ones or the ancient enemies. The modern tribes of the area are Navajo, Zuni, Paiute, and Hopi, but the tribe most closely associated with the ruins are the Ute. The Ute were adamantly opposed to the so-called land swap, which enabled Uncle Sam to take possession of these ruins. So there is significant anger, animosity, and controversy regarding this entire region, which is associated with a wide range of strange ancient stories. In the late 19th century AD, a family of local ranchers named the Wetherill established a trust with a Ute, who told the family, deep in that canyon and near its head are many houses of the old people, the ancient ones. One of those houses, high in the rocks, is bigger than all the others. Utes never go there. It is a sacred place. We may never know what exactly happened to Dale Stehling, but it is not unreasonable to speculate that perhaps the Ute never go near these places is the same reason so much of these ruins are off limits to exploration.
Dale Stehling's case remains unsolved. What do you guys think really happened? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to stay tuned for our next mystery.